Number 10. How they met. In an interview with Harper's Bazaar UK in 2019, Sophie spoke about their meeting and she basically said they got set up. She explained that they had a lot of mutual friends and they had been trying to introduce them for quite some time. Apparently they were following each other on Instagram and he direct messaged her one fine day out of the blue. Soon after the meeting, he invited her to meet up with his tour that was passing through the UK. She said that the two of them had an instant connection, even though she hadn't expected to like him. She said he didn't bring security, he brought a friend, and they drank just as hard as the rest of us. I remember us two spending only a couple of minutes on the dance, and then we found a space in the far corner and we just talked. Sophie went on to say that they talked for hours and hours, but that she was never bored. She felt that the conversation wasn't contrived, it wasn't small talk. From her point of view, it was just easy. She said soon they were inseparable, and then she went on tour with him. So at that point, it seemed like she had really fallen hard for this dude, and marriage came very quickly after that. Like very quickly, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Number 9. Age is but a number. Joe was 28 years old when he popped the question to his then 21-year-old girlfriend Sophie. A lot of people believe that age is just a number. Many didn't find this to be a big deal at first. An insider close to the couple revealed that they were madly in love, and while Sophie is a bit younger than he is, she grew up in a small English town, so it's not completely out of the ordinary for an age difference to be glossed over. Many fans also came to her defense, citing her mental maturity. While she may have been 21, she was forced to grow up very fast, and because of that, she was probably closer to like a 30-year-old mentally speaking. The red flag is that much like celebrities like Leonardo DiCaprio or Al Pacino, Joe tends to date people much younger than himself, like supermodel Gigi Hadid. His oldest girlfriend was Taylor Swift. She was a whole 4 months older than him. Wow, make way for grandma! Despite how uncomfortable many fans found the age gap to be, the couple did not care, and really, that's what matters. Number 8. Flirty McGurty. When these two first got together, it was believed that Joe had all of the leverage. Why? Well, Sophie was into him for quite some time, but she was aware that at the time, Joe was not known for his commitment skills. When they first met, he was a player, and according to several women, he was seeing them simultaneously and without each other's knowledge. Joe's tone shifted though when he met Sophie. By December of 2016, he was becoming a one-woman kind of guy. According to Sophie, they were intoxicated with each other and they started dating exclusively. However, it appears that he was playing the field for so long that he's forgotten to turn off his game. Joe was still flirting with women at his shows, and while it may have been accidental, the fact that he's not aware of what he's doing was cause for concern. Not only has Joe flirted with other people in the past, but apparently his ex Sophie did as well, with one of Joe's close friends whose jaw literally dropped when he saw her in real life. Number 7. The private PDA? Despite crying out to the public to just leave them alone, Sophie and Joe were known for their aggressive PDA. Whether it's getting cozy at an awards show, or at a Kings of Leon's concert, or during a shopping trip. Page 6 reported that in May of 2017, the couple went into a dressing room together in a Soho boutique. According to the report, the couple entered the change room and a customer noticed both of them in bare feet below the door. Now, while it's super creepy that someone was just peeking under doors in Soho, it was clear that Sophie was trying on clothes for Joe in the privacy of their own little room. When they exited, they noticed the couple to be giggly and very touchy-feely. Now, while being close isn't a bad thing per se, these two have constantly asked the world to ignore them and stop focusing on their love lives. Well, hey man, then stop licking your wife in public. Number 6. In and out. Las Vegas weddings. Quick, easy, and everlasting. Joe and Sophie tied the knot in Las Vegas after publicly claiming several times that they were in no rush to get married. After telling the world they'd be taking time off for themselves following their engagement, it was not less than a month later that they tied the knot and attended the Billboard Music Awards right after getting their license, like on the exact same day. They went to a little wedding chapel in Las Vegas that's famous for its star weddings, like Britney Spears' marriage to her friend Jason Alexander for 2 days. Not to mention, the wedding featured some huge Vegas cliches. There was an Elvis impersonator literally officiating the thing. Many speculate that Joe was trying to prove something to his brothers by throwing the exact opposite of their weddings. Nick Jonas and Priyanka Chopra had an extravagant $1 million wedding spanning multiple days. The only people in attendance for Joe and Sophie were Joe's brothers, DJ Khaled and Diplo. They also didn't wear the traditional dress and suit, instead opting for slacks and jeans. To cap it all off, they used ring pops instead of real rings to seal the deal. Man, I feel like I'm describing a dream that I had. Number 5. Sophie was hesitant. Sophie Turner singer previously admitted to OK Australia in 2016 that she's never dated anyone who she didn't know before or who is in the industry. Her reasoning? Well, in addition to being more focused on her career than her love life at the time, she claimed that their lifestyles were a contributing factor. Joe and Sophie had different ideas of what was fun. She went on to say how on-set romances are amazing, but they tend to be very temporary when it comes to their time together, so that was a big fear for her. The logistics seemed to be her main concern as well. If she was filming in Australia and he was on tour in the States, how would that work? They'd never see each other. After getting together officially with Joe, Sophie did admit that she felt like she was in a fishbowl. Frustratingly for her, the smallest thing would be made into headline news. If she stubbed her toe on the sidewalk, it was in the front page. Her frustrations are legitimate, but why maintain this charade for so long if you're uncomfortable from the start? Number 4. Short and sweet. Before being engaged, the couple only dated for a very short time. Joe Jonas and Sophie Turner were first linked after attending a Halloween party together in 2016. The singer showed up dressed as a Dalmatian, while his love interest sported some pink sequins bunny ears, according to People magazine. Less than a week later, they were spotted looking very comfortable at the pre-MTV European Music Awards event in the Netherlands, where Kings of Leon's performed. Less than a year after getting together, Sophie was spotted with a ring on her finger, and the engagement was confirmed. Many people get engaged early in their relationship, but as you've seen through this video, this was a case of rushing into things a little too quickly considering some of the other entries on this list. Number 3. She's messing with a gold digger. According to an inside source close to the couple, Joe was beyond excited when he started dating Sophie, and sounds like it's because of her money. According to the source, one of the main reasons that Joe is so smitten with his ex-man wife is because she is able to provide for herself and for him. Apparently, Sophie does not let Joe pay for most things, something the musician is not used to. When speaking about his wife in interviews, Joe kinda just backed up the whole gold digger theory, as the first and foremost thing that he mentions is how much he loves her independence. He literally said, "She buys me stuff all the time. I love it." While many praised Sophie for her efforts, many people started pointing out the red flag and expressing their discomfort knowing that Joe Jonas doesn't pay the bill when he's out with his lady. Maybe that's why they're getting divorced. Maybe she kept the tabs and the bill finally came due. Number 2. Different love languages. According to Sophie herself, she learned that a majority of what she knows about physical intimacy was from her time on the HBO series Game of Thrones. I'm not sure why this needs to be said, but I'm gonna say it. Don't treat Game of Thrones as something to learn from. Dragons aren't real. They're not real, Nate. Thanks to the show, it may have skewed her view on what proper intimacy looks like. Meanwhile, Joe just seems to love chit-chatting about his private parts. Seriously, like every chance this guy gets, it's genitalia. He boasted to Vulture in December of 2013 about removing his purity ring, which himself and his brothers Kevin and Nick rocked during their Disney days. In October of 2016, he then talked about the size of his little dinghy compared to that of his brothers, which is just too much information. Very uncomfortable. He goes on to recount the time that he lost his V card and about becoming a little bit too excited while filming music videos with Ashley Graham and Charlotte McKinney. Sophie has expressed her disappointment in this lack of restraint and has begged him to quit numerous times, but he persists and now they're divorced. And at number 1, Joe took off his wedding ring first. In the weeks leading up to this divorce announcement, Joe was photographed without his wedding ring quite a few times. One of those moments was as far back as August 11th, when he was picking up an iced coffee in New York City. But since then, he's made a point of wearing it again, even as the couple have officially filed for divorce. On Monday, Joe posted a black and white photo on Instagram that showed him looking at the camera and holding a cup with his wedding band prominently on full display. Then, just this morning, he posted a statement to Instagram claiming that it was from the two of them. It said, "After 4 wonderful years of marriage, we have mutually decided to amicably end our marriage. There are many speculative narratives as to why, but truly this is a united decision and we sincerely hope that everyone can respect our wishes for privacy for us and our children." This is quite a shock considering that the news only broke a few days ago. Sources spoke to TMZ and said that Joe had his people contact at least 2 divorce lawyers in LA, and the couple has had serious problems in their relationship for at least 6 months. So those are the red flags that we miss when it comes to Joe and Sophie. What do you think has caused this split? At the time of filming this, right now, it's still up in the air, so who knows? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and be nice. Perhaps we'll all have an update soon.
Expensive celebrity divorces of all time. At number 10, we have have Dr. Dre and Nicole Young. After 18 months of a legal battle back and forth, rapper and producer Dr. Dre was finally able to finalize his divorce from Nicole Young with a $100 million settlement. Under the terms of the settlement, Nicole would get $50 million immediately and another $50 million in 1 year after. However, Nicole would not be eligible for spousal support, and Nicole would also be able to leave the marriage with all of her jewelry as well as 4 vehicles, which included a Rolls Royce, Range Rover, Escalade, and a Spider motorcycle. Nicole was required to move out of the Malibu beach home that she was currently living in, and she had to pay her own legal fees under the agreement. Dr. Dre, who is worth more than $820 million, will keep a large sum of his wealth, including his master recordings, trademarks, and interest in various partnerships and trust. He also was able to retain all of his Apple stocks, which included all of the proceeds from his sales of Beats by Dre, which Apple bought back in 2014 for $3 billion. The musician was also able to keep 6 of the vehicles and 7 of the couple's properties. Nicole initially filed for divorce in 2020, citing a that led to her PTSD, and Dre has since denied the allegations. At number 9, we have Bill Gates and Melinda Gates. After being married for 27 years, the couple split due to the fact they believed that they couldn't grow as a couple into the next phase of their lives. Now, court documents did show that the two had a private separation agreement in place, but not a prenup. Since the two shared so much of their professional life together, untangling their assets definitely became a complicated process. The couple had several properties, and Bill had a net worth of around $152 billion prior to the divorce, meaning he and Melinda could now each be only worth $76 billion. The couple also shares a handful of luxury planes and cars, and they run their namesake foundation, which is worth more than $40 billion. Now, both have agreed to continue to work together at the foundation as they continue its mission of helping people around the world lead healthy, productive lives. If you're liking this video so far, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. At number 8, we have Jeff and Mackenzie Bezos. Jeff and Mackenzie's divorce settlement is the largest divorce settlement in history to ever occur. When the divorce settlement was made official, Jeff had to hand over a 4% stake in Amazon, and he also had to transfer Amazon shares worth $38 billion into Mackenzie's name. Now, Mackenzie is an author, and she's now become the 4th richest woman and has already promised to give away at least half of her fortune. Now, despite handing over a vast sum of money, Jeff will still remain the world's richest individual with a $118 billion fortune. He has also given $2 billion of his wealth to Bezos' Day One fund to help address homelessness and improve education for children in low-income families. Jeffs also congratulated his former wife in a tweet, linking her given pledge letter, which encourages the world's richest people to commit to giving away at least half of their wealth to charity. At number 7, we have Paul McCarthy and Heather Mills. Now, Paul McCarthy's divorce to Heather Mills cost him $48.7 million. The couple would call it quits in 2006, however their divorce wasn't complete until 2008, and once they finalized their divorce, it came to a hefty penny for Paul. When all was said and done, Paul would have to pay Heather $48.7 million, and on top of that, Heather would receive $70,000 a year for child support, which would later leave Paul to this day to say that his marriage to Heather was the biggest regret of his life. Ouch. To make matters worse, the media was constantly getting involved, and in 2007, while Heather was trying to speak at a charity campaign fundraiser, a reporter asked her if she was the woman that took Paul's money. At number 6, we have Mel Gibson and Robin Moore. In 2006, Robin decided to separate from her husband Mel after Mel was caught driving under the influence. At the time, Mel and Robin didn't have a prenup agreement, which meant she was entitled to walk away with at least half of his earnings that he made in the last 30 years they were married. With Mel's net worth being only $850 million at the time, Robin would be entitled to receive about $425 million. In addition, she would also pick up 50% of the pension benefits that Mel built up during the 31 years of marriage. During this settlement, it outlined his ex-wife would also get half of his film rights, and she was entitled to a split of his Directors Guild of America pension and half of the benefits he accumulated through their production company. At number 5, we have Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen. Now, Denise Richards and Charlie Sheen had a bumpy marriage, and Denise decided to pull the plug on their marriage when she was only a few months pregnant with the couple's second child. In 2006, their divorce was finalized, however, the couple hadn't signed a prenup. Considering Charlie appeared on 2.5 Men, making millions millions during their marriage, Charlie would be responsible to pay 50% of the earnings and assets made from their marriage. However, Denise has claimed that she never saw any of the sitcom money, and Charlie has over $450,000 in unpaid child support. According to several inside sources, Charlie pays Denise $80,000 to cover the cost of their $2, and he also pays the same amount to his other ex-wife, Brooke Mueller, for their 2 children. However, Charlie's once $220 million net worth is no longer in the state it was, and most of it went towards his risk behavior rather than to his spouses and children. At number 4, we have James Cameron and Linda Hamilton. After being married for 18 months, James and Linda decided to call off their marriage, and their divorce would cost James a hefty penny. Now, Linda would come forward to say that she and James had decided to split due to James having an affair with an actor from the Titanic, while James was a film producer on the set. The love triangle would ultimately dissolve James's and Linda's marriage, and in 1999 the couple's divorce would be finalized and Linda would receive $50 million in a settlement. At number 3, we have Harrison Ford and Melissa Matheson. Now, Harrison Ford and Melissa have been divorced now for 2 decades. However, their divorce still remains one of Hollywood's most expensive divorces. Now, the couple decided to part ways ultimately because they thought that the absence would make their hearts grow fonder for each other. And after being married for 21 years, Melissa would file for a divorce in 2001. Since the couple never arranged a prenup agreement when they wed, there was a 3-year-long battle before they were able to reach a settlement. In 2004, Melissa would be awarded $85 million, and she would also be able to receive part of Harrison's future earnings from Indiana Jones and the Fugitive sales. At number 2, we have Adele and Simon Kanucki. Now, Adele and Simon's divorce had to be one of the messiest and unfair divorces Hollywood has ever seen for a while. Who can forget that photo of Adele screaming at Simon in tears when he took almost all of her money? When Adele finalized her divorce from Simon, she would have to pay the CEO a settlement of $140 million out of her $190 million net worth. Of course, when this news came to light, a lot of men were stoked at the prospect of Adele having to hand over $100 million and said Simon deserved the large amount. However, considering women are still paid less than men in most workplace settings, the fact that Adele had to fork over 2/3 of her hard-earned fortune is insane. What Adele's divorce has taught us is that no money is ever safe in a marriage. If you're a celebrity or a billionaire and you're thinking about getting married, make sure you get that prenup ready. At number 1, we have Princess Diana and King Charles. Now, it's no lie that Diana lost a lot when her time as a royal came to an end. When the royal marriage dissolved, it's clear that even princesses don't always have their fairy tale ending. After the two announced their separation in 1992, Queen Elizabeth would strip Diana's royal titles at the behalf of Charles' insistence, and Diana would then need to curtsy to anybody in the royal family, and this included her sons. Despite losing her royal title, Diana did gain some money. Now, neither side officially disclosed details of anything Diana would get. However, a newspaper would later leak that Diana would receive $22.5 million plus another $600,000 salary a year to pay for her private office. So that's all for this video, and I hope to see you again in the next one. Coming in at number 10 today, we have the Grammys argument. Seems like one TikToker is shutting down all the speculation that Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez seem to be upset with each other at the Grammys, probably to gain clout for her page, but whatever works, as she went on to share her experience as a seat filler at the Sunday show, where she sat in a temporary vacant seat next to the stars. While a video shows the couple having a little argument at the table, the TikToker would then say that there was more to the story as to why Ben was looking a little gloomy at the event. When the TikToker explained the situation, she would say, "JLo was showing Ben Affleck her phone when she was like, 'Oh my god, honey, look at this meme circulating about you. And apparently Ben was like, oh god, this again. Other than that moment, apparently the couple was actually really lovey-dovey throughout the show, and that it never made her think that the couple was headed towards a divorce. However, in the video where it showed Jennifer looking at Ben telling him to stop, look more friendly, look motivated, prove otherwise, and it has us all wondering what he may have whispered in her ear that made her snap, and we really need to interview everyone around them to get to the bottom of this question. Number 9. Schedules and family. Trouble is already brewing in JLo's and Ben Affleck's relationship, and their hectic schedules could be the reason behind it, as it has forced them to spend a huge chunk of time apart. An inside source has lifted the lid on the couple's whirlwind romance, which has caused them to claim that the sudden change of Ben and Jennifer being miles apart has taken a toll on their relationship, even before the two got married just weeks leading up to the wedding, as both of their children started to feel unsettled. But the real factor that caused the tension between the two stars is their hectic schedules. With both having pretty successful careers, it has forced them to spend a huge chunk of their time apart, which has left Jennifer in tears at times as she misses Ben so much. The couple has also had to deal with the stress that comes with merging two families together, and now that the stress has started to form tensions between them. And while the world has been delighted at the fact that they got back together after almost 2 decades, their hectic schedules and family could lead to the ultimate breakup Hollywood has ever seen. Hey my little peaches, are you liking this video so far? If so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to that channel. Number 8. Motorcycle collection. Post honeymoon, things are quickly beginning to turn sour between Ben and Jennifer, as the newlyweds have been at odds and have been fighting non-stop over everything from Ben's bad habit to his clothing choices. However, back in October, Radar Online would learn that JLo even took a jab at her husband when she decided to get rid of Ben's beloved motorcycle collection. An inside source would then reveal to the media outlet that JLo even had Ben's most prized motorbike collection cleared out while they were away without even telling him, as she thought it would be unsafe to do so. So she decided to completely blindside Ben on the matter. After Ben found out about the matter, he and JLo got into a pretty epic fight, which caused JLo to yell at him, and she even pointed her finger, which caused the insider to tell the outlet makes people wonder if she mistakes him for a dog. Number 7. Not wearing a wedding ring? Back in January, according to rumors that were making headlines on social networks, they would claim that Ben no longer wears the engagement ring he has with Jennifer Lopez, which would leave fans to question if the pair was headed towards a divorce sometime soon. And to intensify these rumors even more, the actor would soon be shown hiding his left hand from the paparazzi while he was captured walking in the city of Los Angeles with a nice coffee, wearing a blue puffer jacket. Not to mention, the actor could also be seen rocking a depressed look as he wore glasses and hid his hand in his pocket. This would then start to generate all kinds of comments on social media networks, since the couple celebrated not 1 but 2 weddings to celebrate their union. And now they are already making headlines as inside sources claim things aren't going so well between them. But being caught without your wedding ring isn't exactly a good look. Number 6. Getting sober. Back in January, a video would start to go viral on TikTok after it showed Ben Affleck talking about his addiction with alcohol in the past, while he went on to protest to Jennifer that he hasn't been drinking when they attended a party. In the clip, it would show Ben and Jennifer attending an after party for the Hollywood premiere of JLo's new movie, Shotgun Wedding, on January 18th. As Jennifer's hit track, Let's Get Loud, is heard playing in the background, Jennifer is seen holding a wine glass as Ben yells over the music, "I didn't drink anything, okay?" Jennifer is then seen lifting the glass while maintaining eye contact with Ben as she cautiously takes a drink before placing it down, as her husband shouts at Jen. As the video has started to go viral, it has sparked a major debate among users, and a number of users would slam Jennifer as they suggested that she was being unsupportive to Affleck by drinking, while others claimed that she was just testing the drink to see if there actually was anything in it, as she was worried Ben is falling back into his old alcohol addiction habits, and she's scared he might enter into a rehab program again soon. Number 5. The past. Today it seems like the world can't stop talking about Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck's reunion, but it seems like the pair's past might be coming back to haunt them, as neither can trust each other due to their long history. When the pair first broke up, after it was hinted Ben had some major chemistry with his on-screen partner, Jennifer Garner, Ben would later call off his engagement with Lopez and marry Garner. And in some interviews, news, it would prove that Ben causes more harm to the woman around him, as he likes to later gush about them to the press, and he often talks about how much he regrets causing them harm, until everyone forgets how awful he truly was to them. As J-Lo claimed that the two broke up because of having a public relationship, it was really hard on them, she would also refer to the relationship as self-destructive, and that Ben crushed her soul when he pulled out of the wedding that she took so much time to plan, just to hit rock bottom when she found out he got garnered just shortly after. Not to mention, Ben even chirped her to the press after he told the press that he blamed all his troubles on J-Lo and that Garner saved him, but now the tables have turned. It makes you wonder what part of their past still haunts them. Number 4, bad habits. While Jennifer always tries to understand and support Ben through all of his problems, when she asks Ben to support and understand her, the actor simply just acts indifferent and only focuses on his feelings without caring about what his wife feels. Jennifer, as a result, has been left feeling a little sad because she fears that Ben might even fall back into his same old patterns. Ben, who has already gone to rehab several times due to various vices, has overcome a lot, but now he is smoking heavily, and this is apparently a situation that Jennifer is not really pleased with. It's gotten to the point where she's even had to talk to Ben's team, where she has urged them not to give him any more cigarettes, but he has ignored his team and his wife on the matter, and he's even been caught out in public sneaking in some smoke time, which has caused J-Lo to be on edge, and she is now at the point she is losing hope on Ben fixing his bad habits, and that this could be one of the reasons she files for divorce shortly. Number 3, too hopeful. You know when they say if something is meant to be, it will come back to you? Well, that's exactly what happened to Jennifer Lopez and Ben Affleck. And while the couple seems to be true believers when it comes to that statement, they seem to be a little too hopeful when it comes to the relationship this time around. When the two first got back together, they saw the spark they knew they both had still, and they dove quickly back into their relationship. 17 years after, they went their separate ways and called off their engagement in 2004. And since they have gotten remarried, they spend a lot of their time talking about what went wrong in their past, which is #a giant red flag. While both are really hopeful that their relationship this time around will last, as they want to spend more time putting in effort, and that they believe that they are both more mature and are on the same page, it just seems like they are too invested in each other's lives and they're focusing on all the problems instead of all the good that can come with this relationship. Number 2, the long honeymoon phase. All good things can't last forever, and it seems like J-Lo and Ben have finally reached the end of their extremely long honeymoon phase, which lasted longer than any other honeymoon phase. While he was caught whispering something into his wife's ear right before, J-Lo could be seen jerking away and snapping at him after a lip reader confirmed Jennifer said, "Stop, look more friendly, look motivated." Ben then responded by saying, "I might." However, just before their public spat, they were in a 6-month honeymoon phase that just looked too unrealistic because no one is that gooey in love and happy, and if you are, something is lying deep within and you're hiding it, and that's the scary part. It's like dating someone you know at the beginning and how they're like really nice and you know something's up, and then 6 months later they're a completely different person. And coming in at number 1 today, we have the gloomy reactions. Ever since Ben got with J-Lo, he's been looking pretty gloomy, and every time he's caught out in public looking a little upset, he starts to go viral as his fans try to figure out what might be making Ben seem sad. You would think after dating Jenny on the block you would be pretty upbeat, but just days after tying the knot, Ben was seen with J-Lo looking pretty angry, like someone had stolen his lunch money or even asked him to physically growl out loud. But since the emergence of Sad Affleck started to go viral last January, the meme hasn't shown signs of slowing down, and it's clear something concerning is going on with the star.
Believe that their marriage would not make it to the end of time. The two met back when Demi was 25 and Ashton was 41, but the older star had 3 children closer in age to him than Demi was. With this fact in mind, there were also rumors of infidelity on his part and opening up their relationship to others that certainly did not help keep their marriage afloat. It's been reported by various sources that the most surprising outcome of the marriage ending is just how long it took for them to call it quits. Yikes. At number 9, we have another acting twosome who announced they were splitting yet again, at no real surprise for fans. Apparently the ex-spouses were having an insane amount of marital issues for years before their separation. Alongside rumors of infidelity in their relationship, there were also apparently the tripling up of Ben's gambling and drinking problems. It probably didn't save their situation once Ben announced in his 2013 Oscar speech how he and Jennifer were working on their marriage at that point. Surely you may not all be that shocked to know, with all that information, that the two revealed the end of their marriage in 2018 2015. At number 8, we have actress Gwyneth Paltrow and English singer-songwriter Chris Martin, who didn't make the public announcement that they decided to separate until 2014, following 10 whole years of marriage. There were very obvious signs between them that indicated they might not have been seeing a long future together, and it seems fans were undoubtedly right on the money. Not one of them was caught off guard due to the fact that they would not pose together on red carpets nor discuss one another in interviews they gave prior. In fact, when Gwyneth discussed her marriage in interviews, it was only to explain how hard it was for her to be married. Reportedly, there were cheating rumors involved with them, and they were broadcasted as another Hollywood couple with an open marriage. Regardless, the very obvious signs that things were donezo were clearly written in the stars long before the divorce papers were signed, stamped, and finalized. At number 7, we have actor Tom Cruise and actress Katie Holmes. Now, these two were somewhat of a wreck just waiting to happen according to just about everybody. As soon as they went public with their love back in 2005, the public was already expecting a breakup to take place between the two of them. It was said to be mainly due to their age difference, but there were also loads of smaller issues that most likely played a huge part in their romantic demise. For one, Tom was 14 years Katie's senior, and there was the biggest and probably least surprising Scientology mess. Where Katie was brought up as a Catholic, Tom was heavily devoted to the practice of Scientology, which has its own slew of bad rumors and unethical practices and brainwashing techniques attached to its name. Then there was the fact that both Tom and Katie were at two very different places in their career at the time, which inevitably doomed their relationship from the get-go. Where Tom was a megastar hitting all the biggest screens, Katie was just up and coming as an actress. Surprisingly enough, their marriage remained intact for 6 whole years, but on the opposite end, no one was quite shocked to see it go. At number 6, we have former lovebirds from the second season of the reality series Love is Blind. Featured stars Danielle and Nick Thompson are reportedly calling their marriage quit after a single year of being together. According to news sources that were scoped from multiple online documents, Danielle filed for divorce in Illinois on August 15th at the Cook County Circuit Court. The once seemingly happy duo met and fell in love on Netflix's dating show and went on to tie the knot in June 2021. Their season finale wedding was featured in the show, which was released in February of this year. However, they haven't publicly confirmed their split when news sources originally made the discovery and began publishing their stories. More so, Danielle is still listed as a Thompson in her Instagram bio and handle. On June 8th, the couple posted sweet tributes on Instagram to mark the celebration of their 1-year wedding anniversary, so things seemed okay at that time. In fact, Nick's post featured an image of him and Danielle at their wedding, with an explanation that although marriages broadcasted on TV are tough, he and Danielle are, quote, putting in the work to get to know each other and learn how to be partners for one another. The former spouses were the only pair of the two couples on season 2 of Love is Blind to end up tying the knot, as the opposite duo Ayana and Jarrett announced their plans to divorce just a few days after Danielle filed for her own separation paperwork, ironically enough. Many LIB fans were initially disappointed to know that these couples broke up, as season 1 couples Lauren and Cameron and Amber and Matthew are still together to this day. At number 5, we have the queen of pop Britney Spears and her ex-husband Kevin Federline. I think it's safe to say that once Britney first made the announcement that she would be walking down the aisle with her former backup dancer turned lover, the world seemingly knew they'd be a disaster waiting to crash. But people were surprised when Britney and Kevin began having children together. Still, fans were wickedly anticipating a divorce announcement from Britney and Kevin at the time. Their relationship lasted a brief 2 years before Britney apparently blindsided Kevin with her filing for divorce. However, supporters of the pop star weren't nearly as disturbed by it, of course. At number 4, we have previous Keeping Up with the Kardashian love stars Kris Jenner and Caitlyn Jenner, who formerly went by Bruce Jenner back when they were married. One thing I can tell you for sure is that at the beginning, their relationship seemed picture perfect. They had the typical solid match made in heaven type of romance, apparently, but this soon changed as Kris began growing more and more successful, with their family becoming just as famous. This is where Kris and the previously Bruce's relationship would experience major change. By the time the reality show hit its 4th season, it appeared Kris and Caitlyn couldn't really stand to be around each other. However, in probably the most surprising feat on today's list, both reality stars managed to make it all the way to season 8 before they finally put a wrap on their marriage. Still, this one was deemed by fans worldwide to be a marriage destined for failure for a long time coming. At number 3, we have comedian John Mulaney and his ex-wife and artist Anne-Marie Tendler. The couple shared a 6-year-long relationship and a dog prior to the end of their romantic ties. John would very frequently make jokes regarding their relationship during his comedy stand-up routines, including one in 2018 where he referred to Anne as a dynamite female dog during his Kid Gorgeous special. We'll never know if the jokes on top of the other BS became too much for Anne in the end, but the pair officially headed for Splitsville in July. Their divorce announcement followed a few short months after John was admitted into rehab for substance abuse back in in December 2020. After this, he would go on to date actress Olivia Munn, where he continued to stir up relationship news drama. The most shocking thing for fans of Olivia and John was the announcement of their then soon-to-be welcome child, born in November 2021. John has headlined just about every pop culture news outlet you can think of nowadays for the way he broke things off with Anne. At number 2, we have formerly married twosome Chris Pratt and Anna Faris. These two public icons are very heavily part of Hollywood's former it couples because everybody loved them. However, even with this, it seems that there were a few fans who weren't all that surprised by their eventual separation. In 2018, their divorce was announced from the original marriage in 2009, and Anna has been vocal about feeling as if she was forced to split with Chris after 8 years of marriage, but she has since re-fallen in love with cinematographer Michael Barrett. Chris is currently married to Hollywood royalty Catherine Schwarzenegger. Still, Anna and Chris first met during a 2007 table read where they're sharing starring roles in the film Take Me Home Tonight. In the end though, Anna became angry over fans' reactions to her split with Chris, and the picture-perfect family image she tried her hardest to create that crumbled right before her eyes. At number 1, we have the world's least shocking couple to divorce to date, Miss Kim Kardashian and her rapping ex-husband Kanye West. With the spiral both their relationship and Kanye himself was headed into, it wasn't a shock to Kim Ye fans when the former celebrity couple decided to part ways. It seems non-shocking ends to marriages run deep in the Kardashian family too, as of course we need to honorably mention Khloe's failed marriage with her previous partner Lamar Odom. Still, Kim and Kanye have been dubbed as today's incoming split just bound to happen, according to fans and viewers of the Keeping Up with the Kardashian reality show. Apparently their fate was set in stone as far back as them tying the knot in 2014, according to many. Reportedly, the once powerhouse duo constantly butted heads in their later years due to their rising careers and demanding schedules. Words of Kim once stated, "He should have a wife that supports his every move and travels with him and does everything, and I can't." This was back during the series finale of Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where she cried during her confession. Ironically enough, Kim was also the one who filed for divorce back in February 2021. She later explained to Vogue that her reasoning for them separating was actually because she made the decision to put herself first. Quote, "Even if that created changes and caused my divorce, I think it's..."
The documentary will serve as a new source of information on the split that took over 2 years to finalize. While some of the info seen will have already been a part of the revived docu-series on Kim's family, The Kardashians, there will be plenty of new info from friends, family, and co-workers that will reveal what really went down behind the scenes. So, let's break down the relationship between these two, where things started to go wrong, how they met, and of course, who've they been with since? The origins of Kim Ye. The couple first met in 2003 at a rap party for that season of Keeping Up with the Kardashians. Kanye was working on a song with fellow musician Brandy at the time. Seeing as Kim was one of her closest friends, she asked if her buddy Ye could tag along. While their first meeting was no fairy tale, they did eventually spark a romance around 2012. At that time, Kim was dating a man named Chris Humphries, who she eventually married for 72 days. Yes, I said days. Apparently during her time with Humphries, she realized that she had a stronger connection with Ye and dropped Chris to pursue that. They first took their relationship public in April of 2012, and that year Ye had released Cold, which name-dropped Kim in his lyrics. And I'll admit, I had fell in love with Kim around the same time she fell in love with him. From there, things moved fast. After a whirlwind romance, US confirmed in December 2012 that Kardashian was pregnant with their first child. West celebrated the news at the time by referring to the E-star as his baby mama on stage at his Atlantic City concert. 4 months after becoming parents, Kanye popped the question in front of Kim's family and friends in San Francisco's Giants baseball stadium, which was the cheesiest way to propose on the planet. It's a good way to do it, but come on, Kanye, you couldn't have spelled the message out in the sand on a private beach or something? By 2016, the couple had begun to raise 2 of their 4 kids, and while they seemed like a strong family unit on the outside, the reality was that they were facing marital problems left and right. In November of that year, Kanye was admitted to the hospital thinking that he was just extremely fatigued, but it turned out that he was actually suffering some kind of a psychological crisis, according to the fire department who were called by Kanye's doctor. It turns out that his St. Pablo tour was filled with odd behavior and outlandish outbursts. During one particular situation at one of his scheduled shows in Sacramento, he took to the stage and delivered a long, meandering speech criticizing friends and associates in the music industry, including Jay-Z and Beyonce, while simultaneously praising Donald Trump for his communication musician styles. He then ended that concert short after only performing a few songs. 2 nights before that in San Jose, he said that he would have supported Donald Trump if he voted in the elections, and he asked the crowd what they believed in, and when nobody responded, he shouted at them that he was putting his life, his career, his public well-standing at risk, everything, when he's speaking to us like this, claiming that he was delivering the truth. While 2016 was a rough one for Mr. Yee, 2018 was so much worse. Despite claiming that he would begin seeing a counselor to help manage his emotions, Kanye wound up doubling down on his outlandish behavior by posting a series of tweets and rants online that were just fueled with racism and anti-Semitism, and just claims that the world was trying to push an agenda on him. Now, I can't verbally quote the things that he said or show the tweets without being shut down immediately, so if you're really curious about the tweets, make sure you check out the documentary. His tweets weren't the only concerning behavior starting to loom overhead. According to testimonies from friends as well as Kim herself, Kanye had become a stricter father the closer that they had gotten to 2020. Now with 4 kids, it felt like he was under some kind of pressure, and he was unable to manage the emotions that he had without putting the blame on the family unit. According to Kim, Kanye went so far as to remove the TVs from all rooms in the house and removing makeup from their daughter North's bedroom. In April of 2020, while he was being named a bona fide billionaire by Forbes magazine, it turns out that he had been neglecting his family entirely, focusing on music rather than the actual family unit. But 2020 would end up being the most unhinged year of this dude's life. In summer 2020, Kanye announced his presidential campaign, planning to run alongside Donald Trump, so that he could at least get closer to the guy if he wasn't elected, you know? Unfortunately, he had to be one of those political figures with zero filter. He shared personal details about his family during his first rally in South Carolina, claiming that he almost ended daughter North's life before she was even born. Hey man, why can't you keep that to yourself? The last nicest thing he ever did for his wife was buy a ghost. Yeah, this man purchased and developed a lifelike holographic reprint of Kim's late dad, and she thought it was awesome, but hey, that's a dead guy. About a month later, behind the scenes, the couple started arguing constantly and were living completely separate lives, according to Kim. While it may have taken a while, she finally caved and filed for a divorce in January of 2021. The split. While the papers were filed in 2021, they actually were not finalized until November of 2022. In between A and B, Kanye fought hard to get his wife back, going through over 10 lawyers before finally landing on the right team. And at one point, he even declared his intention to woo her back after seeing several photos of herself and Saturday Night Live star Pete Davidson. The two had met while Kim was hosting an episode of the show, and the writers cast herself and Pete to star as Jasmine and Aladdin in a sketch that forced them to hold hands and touch face. It turns out that Pete was acting as Kim's rebound, as well as her scene partner. They were spotted together several times over the course of a few months before publicly calling it quits in 2022. While Kim and Pete were together, Kanye was hard at work hatching a plot to get his wife and his kids back that ultimately went nowhere. No matter what Kim did, it seemed like Kanye was right there to tell her why it was dumb. Kim wrote via Twitter that her ex constantly coming at her were making a healthy and supportive co-parenting relationship impossible. In fact, as part of one of her main parenting duties, Kim has to actively keep her kids from seeing comments online posted by their father. She claims that this is in an effort to keep the image of their dad clean. The last thing she would want for the family unit is her kids asking why daddy posted a funny symbol online. With the finalization of their divorce, each were granted joint custody of their kids, and Kanye would be made to pay $200,000 a month in child support, as well as pay for 50% of their kids' educational and security costs. But the documentary revealed that there was much more at stake than just the family unit. Kim and Kanye were fighting over properties from around the world, multi-million-dollar shares in equity of multiple different businesses. But the biggest and probably most obvious confirmation from this documentary is that the relationship that we were being presented with was a lie. They seemed like some happy family unit on the outside, when in reality Kim was living with a very toxic man who had little to no control over his personal emotions. The subtle disses and racist tweets weren't some weird phase or reaction to a situation, they were real feelings that Kanye needed to express. He needed to tell fans at his show about his daughter. He needed to tell us what he was going to do to Jewish people. What he really needed to shut up and just get what was coming to him. The aftermath of the split was magical. Kanye lost all of his sponsorship deals, his music sales have dropped drastically, and the only women that he seems to attract are Kim Kardashian lookalikes. The verdict: with the release of Kim vs. Kanye, the divorce, the world is being given a new insight to what was the most powerful couple in the world. The truth will be revealed and both sides of the story will be shared. By the time this video is released, the actual documentary should be out, so hopefully we'll be back with a step-by-step breakdown of the two-part TV event of the summer.